Thank you. This is Dawn Contapio, Vice Chair of the Finance Committee. Lisa Valenti was not able to join us this evening. She will be stepping down as chairman, and Kevin Shively will be taking over as chairman for the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Dawn. I just want to start by thanking Lisa for all the hard work she's done over the last several years in this committee, not only on this committee, but continuing on the town council. She's not going anywhere. She's still going to be a member of the committee and also in the town council, obviously. And we're very grateful to her for all the years of service that she's really put in serving this community. And I'm very honored to step in her stead and take over the chairmanship of this committee. So in that case, we'll call this committee meeting to order at 7:40 p.m. And I'd like to, let's see, let's start by first calling the roll, right?
Correct. Lisa Valenti, Dawn Contapio,
Here.
Kevin Shively,
Here.
Mike Miller,
Here.
Lori Rosasco Schwartz,
Here.
Tony Cinto,
Here.
Mary Isaac,
Sorry, here.
thank you. Donna Sidell. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Could we please start by saying the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We have a few resolutions, 4 resolutions on the agenda this evening. To begin with, may I ask Mr. Miller, would you please bring resolution TC 28-81 to the floor, please?
Certainly. Resolution TC 28-81, be it resolved that a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Trumbull authorizing the execution delivery of an equipment lease/purchase agreement with respect to the refinancing and leasing of certain equipment for the public benefit within the terms provided herein, authorizing the execution delivery of documents required in connection therewith, and authorizing the taking of all other actions necessary to the consummation of the transactions contemplated by this resolution is hereby approved." Full resolution attached.
Thank you. And just a reminder to everyone, whenever you speak, please do state your name so that those that may be listening in without video access are able to know who's speaking.
Dawn Contapio, I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Discussion. on
Mr.
this
Chairman,
item.
Dan Shopik, if I could.
Please.
This resolution is being put forward to take 3 existing equipment leases that the Board of Education, well, the town has entered into on behalf of the Board of Education, combining them into one lease and restructuring the debt. Vinnie DeGennaro, who's an alternate on the Board of Finance, has done yeoman's duty in putting this together. He's here tonight. We defer to him to explain what we're doing. But there is going to be a substantial dollar savings to the Board of Education. And so it is important that we go ahead with this. So Vinnie, if the chair so agrees, it's yours.
Please, Mr. Gennaro.
Hi there. Yeah, this is Vinnie DeGennaro speaking. Yeah, as Dan mentioned, in an effort to try and reduce the cash flow for the Board of Education to help out their budget, we contacted Bank of America, who had the 3 leases in place, the existing leases, and asked them to come up with something that would be attractive to reduce the cash flow. And what they did is come back with a 16.5-year lease, which is really 13.5 years of payments. And the reduction in cost per year for the payments by the Board of Ed is approximately $276,000. The lease is restructured in a way so there's one lease. It has the same terms and conditions of the 3 existing leases, that we do have buyout options with 30-day notice before the pay periods. And we do have a penalty should we choose to buy out of 2%. In looking at this, and this started back, we're going to say back into March and April, what we did is looked at options, because the thought process was that perhaps the town would be better suited by bonding this or attempting to bond it as opposed to going and doing another lease, which would essentially extend the payments and also cost us some money. But what we did find out after speaking with our financial advisor back on May 19th, given the attractive rate for the lease and the terms and conditions remaining the same, and with the potential cost of creating another bond for a smaller amount of money that we usually do, his thought process was to move forward with the releasing, the recasting of the lease. So the only caveat that we have with this is that based on the schedule, which I believe everybody has, and I assume, Dan, you routed that around, what happens after about 5.5 years, the town actually, it costs us money. So in the first 5.5 years, we actually save money via the payments, but then it starts to go negative. So the thought process is that sometime within the 5 years, maybe 5 years or 5.5 years or year 6, we will look again at bonding the remaining balance. We would exercise a cash out and pay the 2%. At that point in time, obviously, the principal will be much less than the 4.6 million, and consequently, it might be a better deal. Or we can continue with the leasing, and if things are really bad, I'm sure Bank of America would extend us again for a number of years. And relative to the stuff that is actually, the equipment that's actually leased, it is from the original performance contracting, which was approved back in 2015, 16, and 17. And the equipment does have a long life. It is not something that is going to go like a computer, which would have a 3-year life. We've had our original boilers in the schools for, I think, 40 years. So I think we can assume that we have a long enough life for the equipment. So that's pretty much what the overview is. The rate is 2.25%. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr.
Yeah.
DeGennaro?
Hey, Kevin, it's Tony.
Yes.
So I have a question.
Please.
Sure.
Is this, I just want to make sure I have the right equipment. Are you talking about the boilers in the schools that were done on the performance contract?
There was boilers. There's also some lighting that was done in some of the schools. There were schedules that were attached with the 3 leases. They were all integrated into the one big lease.
Oh, so they were, because when they were put in, I believe they were all separate, correct?
The leases were separate, but all of the installations were done at a different time.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions? Further discussion?
I have one, Kevin.
Okay.
Mike Miller. Vinny, so thanks for the work on this. Is the expectation that there might be other ways we can save money for the Board of Ed for their cash flow, if there are other opportunities to take other things within there that we wouldn't have necessarily have to bond, we could at least, whatever we could do? Are there other opportunities like that out there?
To be very honest, the one that I focused on was the performance contracting, and kind of the reason I got into it was that I was very concerned that, being on as an alternate on the Board of Finance when all this happened, there never really was any follow-up to find out how much money was saved. So I did a comparison year over year of the energy costs for the Board of Ed when I saw the 2021 budget. And I found that there really wasn't the savings that were anticipated, which kind of led me into looking at the whole energy thing and looking at what the cost of the energy was and obvious the lease cost. So that's kind of where I focused on things. So to be very honest with you, I haven't looked at anything else, but I'm happy to do that. There may be other opportunities, but it would take some investigation.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Well, I think I speak for everybody in town, not just here in this committee, when we say thank you for taking such a hard look at this. Obviously, in these times, we can ill afford to miss any opportunities at savings and trying to control our costs and the needs that we ask our town to and our citizens to fund. So thank you very much for your work. I'll then, if there's no other further discussion, I will ask for a roll call vote for this resolution.
Dawn Cantafio,
Yes.
Kevin Shively,
Yes?
Michael Miller,
Yes.
Lori Rosasco Schwartz,
Abstain.
Tony Sinto,
Abstain.
and Mary Isaac.
Yes.
Motion passes 402.
Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rosasco Schwartz, would you please bring resolution TC 28-82 to the floor, please?
Certainly. Give me a second to scroll down.
Mhm.
Resolution TC 28-82. Be it resolved, whereas the Capital Improvement Plan, Town 2020 to 2021, Town CIP 2021, appropriation and bond authorization was originally proposed in the amount of $7,632,000, whereas the Board of Finance approved a reduced appropriation and bond authorization for the Town CIP 2020-2021 in the amount of $7,332,000, whereas the Town Council intended to adopt the Town CIP 2020-2021 appropriation and bond resolution in the amount and as approved by the Board of Finance, but through oversight unanimously adopted the resolution in the full original amount. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Town Council. The intent of the Town Council in adopting the resolution is hereby confirmed to be the Town CIP 2020-2021 bond resolution as attached hereto, as adopted by the Board of Finance and in the amount of $7,332,000, and the vote thereon on June 9th, 2020, council meeting shall be applied and understood accordingly. The council clerk shall publish such notices as deemed appropriate and upon advice of council. Full resolution attached.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
Dawn Cantapio, I'll second the motion.
Thank you. So the explanation is pretty self-explanatory here in the wording of the resolution, but does anybody have any questions or confusion here as to why we're going back and voting on this again? Anyone?
Shively, would you just maybe give a little bit of background just so that everybody is fully clear? I think there was a couple of items that were excluded by the Board of Finance. So just to clear up any confusion, and it's all out there as to specifically what the changes were, it would be helpful.
Is there anyone that would want to speak directly to that? I don't have the actual figures in front of me as far as what the 300,000 you're talking about, why it was $300,000 reduced from the original amount. Is that what you're asking?
I think I do know. I just was hoping for, further, so everybody that is voting on this is aware of what the changes were. And perhaps Ms. Pyrus could elaborate on that. I believe it was the two committees that some of the funding was cut for some of those initial studies, but just to clarify
I
that.
can speak to that if you, or Maria, you want to speak to it?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Those two items had to do with the aquatic facilities design. It was initially budgeted for 200,000. It was reduced to 50,000. And the other item had to do with the senior center, the same thing. It was initially put in the bond resolution for 200,000 and it was reduced to 50,000. So that was a reduction of total of 300,000.
Thanks for clarifying that, Maria.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thanks for bringing that up so that everybody watching at home would understand exactly what this was. And again, just the fact that the town council through oversight voted on the full amount rather than this reduced amount. We want to make sure that that vote reflects confirmation of what was approved by the Board of Finance. Any other questions or confusion?
Yeah, Kevin, it's Tony.
Please.
Sinto. So we voted on this. It had to be changed. So the first vote is gone. So we're starting all over.
No, actually, as it's written, the way that I explained it, and Mr. Shopik can clarify this if I misspeak, but the way that it's written is that the vote of the town council was for, now we're confirming simply that that vote was in affirmation of the approved amount by the Board of Finance, not requiring, and we're basically just voting to clear that up to make sure that we know exactly what that vote was for. Is that?
So we're voting on the,
I'm sorry,
we're
go ahead.
voting on the entire $7 million amount.
We're actually confirming the amount that the Board of Finance passed, which was the $7,332,000.
Okay, so we're voting on the $7 million.
$7,332,000 as passed by the Board of Finance, correct?
Okay, super. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'd like to call for a roll call vote.
Dawn Contafio,
Yes.
Kevin Shively,
Yes?
Michael Miller,
Yes.
Lori Rozatsko Schwartz,
Yes.
Tony Sinto,
No,
and Mary Isaac.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1.
Thank you very much. Ms. Isaac, would you please bring resolution TC 28-83 to the floor, please?
Be it resolved that the funding for a labor agreement between the town of Trumbull and UPSEU-DPW Local 424, Unit 108, non-supervisory, Highway and Parks employees beginning July 1, 2019 and ending June 30th, 2022 is hereby approved.
Dawn Contapio, I'll second the motion.
Thank you. I know that we have Mr. McCarthy with us here today. If we, just as a caveat, if we are going to discuss any details of this labor agreement, we will need to go into executive session. So if you have questions about the specific agreement, then I would ask you to make a motion to go into executive session. Are there any questions or discussion to be had on this issue?
Hey, Kevin, it's Tony. Oh,
Please.
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Lori. Go ahead.
I was just going to make a motion to go into an executive session. I have a couple of questions related to this as it
Okay.
relates
Do-
to the
do-
vote.
Yeah,
If I
I have
may,
questions
Mr.
too.
Chairman.
I'll second.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, this is Dan Shopik. The going to executive session is not the appropriate motion. Since this is something dealing with collective bargaining,
Okay.
the appropriate form would be to take a recess and because a collective bargaining meeting, according to Freedom of Information, is not a meeting. So it's a non-meeting. So you can
I will amend
you can use your executive session format in terms of moving to a different venue, because you may not want everybody present, but you can have present anybody that you want.
I'll withdraw my second.
I withdraw my original motion and I'll make a motion to go to have a recess.
I'll second the recess.
And just so I understand what it is that we're doing, we're going to leave this meeting and go into the meeting that was originally intended for the executive session. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes,
And those
the
people
vehicle for
invited
doing
would
that,
be
the platform for doing it would be exactly the same.
and those people that would be invited into that would be the same people that would normally be invited into executive session. Is that correct?
You can actually invite other members of the town council if you so choose. Because it's not a meeting. What can I tell you?
So unless I hear objection, then I'm going to suggest that any and all people that are on this meeting currently in this Zoom meeting that want to join us in the other meeting. The problem with this, however, though, is that some people in this meeting may not have that link, I believe. Is that correct, Bill?
That is absolutely correct. And I just opened up my email to add anybody who wasn't on the original list.
So is it, Mr. Shopik, is it required that we would need to leave this meeting, since this is a meeting?
Well, it's if you want to shut off the public access, right? Because right now you have a meeting with public access, and that you don't want because you're going to be discussing the specifics of the labor agreement.
In
Right,
that
so I
case,
think
then I think
it's
if
the-
how is it problematic, Mr. Chin, to send that invite to the other members of this that are participating currently?
I think
It's not problematic. I just need the names.
I just think, well, I think the people who are members of the town council, and obviously Mr. McCarthy and First Selectman, Ms. Katsky, who've all been involved in this, I'm not sure that the other people who are here, I don't know who else is left here at this point.
Maria Pires probably too.
Maria, definitely, yes.
So, Mr. Chin, if you would make sure that Mr. McCarthy, Ms. Pires, First Selectman Tesoro, and Ms. Katsky all have that link to the executive session. Some of them probably should have that link already, I believe. And then, so that there is a motion on the floor to recess.
Does Joanne want to go in also? Joanne Glasser-Orenstein?
Could you please
And
add
Eric
her,
Paulson.
Mr. Chin?
Yes.
And Eric Paulson, please.
Is there anybody else? I don't see anybody else, I don't think.
And Bill, I don't see that I have a link, but I probably do.
Maybe just
Okay.
resend it to everybody.
Just
that was
resent it to
originally-
everybody that I resent
Yeah.
to earlier, adding
Exactly.
those individuals. So check your email.
Okay, unless I'm hearing objection, which or anyone that is going to vote no on that, I'm going to call to recess, and we will gather in the other meeting room for a non-meeting and and reconvene as soon as we're finished talking.
You need to vote to leave the meeting?
Yes, you can leave the meeting.
Just leave? Okay, goodbye.
Aye. And there were 3.
For some reason my I can't share my screen, but
I got your back.
thank you. I had to change a setting and it's like quit Zoom if you want to do it, and I'm like,
Sir Chairman, I can send invitations again.
Yeah, I would at least, maybe send it to, especially Bill. I mean, Tony, I'm sorry, Tony.
Tony's been.
Just he had mentioned that he wasn't sure.
Tony's here.
There he is, he found it. Okay.
Great.
Great, okay. And who else? Are we missing anybody else?
I think we're all here.
I think we're all here. Okay. So I will call the Finance Committee meeting back into session at 8:34 p.m. back from recess. And we have a motion on the floor, a resolution motioned on the floor. This is resolution TC 28-83. I'd like to call then for a roll call vote.
Dawn Cantafio,
Yes.
Kevin Shively,
Yes?
Michael Miller,
Yes.
Lori Rosasco Schwartz,
Abstain.
Tony Sinto,
No.
and Mary Isaac.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1-1.
Thank you very much. We have one remaining resolution on the floor. Mr. Sinto, would you please bring resolution TC 28-84 to the floor, please?
Sure, let me just get over there. Okay. Resolution TC 28-84, to consider and act upon a resolution which would authorize the application of the state of Connecticut of revenue
Excuse me?
services.
you have to read the be it resolved, Tony.
Oh, I'm reading the wrong one, sorry.
I think
I'm
we've all
reading
made that mistake.
I'm reading the rest.
Thank you.
Hold on, I gotta scroll through. Oh, I can just, oh, here we go. Sorry. What was the number again? Oh, 82?
84.
84, TC
84. So hold on,
28-84.
I'm getting there. I was up on the
Sure.
wrong page.
No
Okay,
problem.
here we go. Resolution TC 28-84, be it resolved that the application of the State of Connecticut Department of Revenue Services, DRS, for the Neighborhood Assistance Act program is hereby authorized to include the Connecticut Radio Information System, $5,000, the Connecticut Center, $150,000, Make-A-Wish Foundation of Connecticut, $150,000, and the first selectman, Vicky A. Tesoro, or her designee, is hereby authorized to submit such application and will sign related forms, contracts, and reports in order to implement the Neighborhood Assistance Program. Full resolution attached, public hearing, July 9th at 2020 Town Council.
And do we have a second?
Dawn Contapio, I'll second the motion.
Thank you. I believe we have Ms. Bakalar here as well as our first selectman to address this or answer any questions. Ms. Bakalar, did you want to say anything in regards to these grants that we're applying for?
So there may be some folks, can everybody hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. There may be some folks that are new to the council. So just by way of background, we do this program annually. It is a tax credit program that the Department of Revenue allows nonprofits in your community to apply for. They apply through an application process. I gather all those applications, and then we submit as a town a package to the Department of Revenue Services. They will then award various nonprofits throughout different towns in the state an amount and an allotment of tax credits. The nonprofit in turn uses those tax credits as a tool to fundraise to certain types of corporations to fund programs. So that's how the program works. This year, I think you heard in the resolution that we have 3 nonprofits that wanted to participate. I do reach out to others. Some choose to come some years and some don't as part of their development plan. And you heard that we have the radio information systems. They tend to take advantage of this every year. The Kennedy Center has taken advantage of it several times, and then we're glad to see them this year. And Make-A-Wish Foundation, for those of you who don't know, they are creating their new Connecticut headquarters in our Trumbull Corporate Park, and they have a really great plan to expand their services and so forth. So they are with us again this year, and they were with us last year for $150,000. And I manage the program for the town.
Thank you very much. Those are all excellent foundations, obviously, and we hope they get the money. So anybody else have any questions of Ms. Bakalar about this or any discussion? Okay, hearing none, I will call for a roll call vote.
Dawn Contafio,
Yes.
Kevin Shively,
Yes.
Michael Miller,
Yes.
Lori Rozatsko Schwartz,
Yes.
Tony Sinto,
Yes.
and Mary Isaac.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Is there any other business before the Finance Committee this evening? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, Dawn
Second.
Contapio.
All right, well, thank you, everybody, and hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, Shell.